What's up, guys? Red Icing Guy back again. And I'm here to tell you about something very difficult that's been bothering me. The fact that all signs point to Fallout 4 sucking. Without hesitation, let's get into explaining why you shouldn't hang me right now. First of all, we will look at the graphics. The graphics look like a love child between BioShock Infinite and Fallout New Vegas. What the heck? There should not be this good of graphics on a Fallout game. It's adventure. It's exploration. It doesn't need to be beautiful. It's the post-apocalyptic wasteland. Why? You just gotta think that this is gonna put more of a toll on the game as a whole, because it will take away from other parts of the game. Either the map won't be as big, the story won't be as long, there's less to do. Next thing you know, you thought this game would last you 120 hours at least, but it only gives you 60. This is bad, and it gets even worse. I mean, let's just look at Rage. Rage was an amazing game, visually, but it was only 20 hours long. Why would they do that to us? And you gotta think, Bethesda had their hands on Rage a while ago, and that was a big mistake, and they're about to make the same mistake again. Ugh. And when you play a game like Rage, or what's about to be Fallout 4, you learn that beauty is not exactly all of it. Beauty you get over really quickly when there's less of a game to play. Next, we're going to move on to the building systems. Number one reason I think Fallout 4 will suck. Yeah, you get to make your own community. Let's rip off of Minecraft. Let's just destroy everything Fallout 4 is about. I mean, I know Skyrim had the Hearthstone DLC, but that does not make this okay. You want to know why? Every building system also takes away from the game, just like the graphics. You're going to spend so much time building a community that doesn't do jack squat, and then when you actually want to play the real game, you feel like you've been betrayed. And it's obvious they're trying to do this rip-off of Minecraft, and they're trying to build a bigger community because a Fallout game hasn't been released in a while, and they're trying to get new people to take up Fallout, which is understandable. Great marketing, but bad for the game. And then we move on to the weapons building system. There's too much of a focus on it. I mean, you could build any weapon you want. This is practically what BioShock Infinite did wrong. In BioShock 1 and 2, you could have up to 8 weapons. I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong on that. And those 8 weapons you could access from a scroll wheel, but they did the Call of Duty BS and gave you only 2 weapons to just take away from you to make the game better, but not better in our eyes. Or at least some of us, some of y'all BioShock Infinite fans. Oh my god. So we take a look at this. There's going to be less of a repair system. You look at Skyrim, they took out the armorer skill, which made you not worry about your weapons so much, where you don't really have to go into town that often. You can just go and play the entire game in one sitting without worrying about anything. It's like they took the hardcore aspect out of it. Took one of the building blocks of the RPG that started way back when and just said, hey, let's make it easier for people to play. Again, they're trying to attract a new crowd. And then we get to the power armor. And we've seen all these flashy scenes where there's jetpacks and miniguns, but that's going to take a huge toll on the game, data-wise, so we're going to get less of a game. And if you notice, he can only jump into the power armor at certain points. So most power armor that you want to fight with will only be for short scripted parts of the game. You do not get to use badass power armor all the time. No, you only get to use it when the game tells you you can use it. Does that sound like fun to you? Doesn't to me. I'd rather get a thing of power armor and go all around all day and worry about how much damage I've done to it at the end of the day, so I have to go to repair it so I can prepare for the next day in true Fallout style. And you're going to be spending too much time just scrounging for supplies for these things. The power armor is ultimately a burden the way they built it for Fallout 4. It's not in true Fallout style, and it's going to make a lot of original fans mad. Next, we move on to the scripted events, at least the major ones, not the ones where a random NPC will run up and talk to you. No, we're talking about the big battles. Like, if you watch the trailers, all of those trailers are 90% scripted events to make the game look cooler than it actually is. Fallout's about exploring nothing. Everything was taken away except in a few small areas, and you have to find those small areas. The trailers make it out to look like everything's action-packed all the time. And if this has repeated scripted sequences, it makes it less of a game, especially on replays. When you start that new game and you want to play it in a totally different style, but, oh, we got to go through this again. Fallout is mostly a walking simulator when you look at it. You walk from location to location looking for new things. If these scripted events are too much of the game's core process, you take the adventure out and takes control away from the gamer. Next, we move on to the new features, and the first one I gotta mention is a talking protagonist. No. All of my no. The protagonist is supposed to only talk in text for a reason. One, to save data space, so you don't have to record everything. Two, whenever you start up a new game, if you have the same male character, it's going to be the same voice, and it's going to feel like less of a replay and more of a rerun, if you can understand that. You're just going to be playing through the game twice, and it'll feel the same, where doesn't that take away from your control in the game, how you want to play it, what you want to feel like when you play it, gets rid of the immersion the second time around? It's pretty awful. And Bethesda and Obsidian, I just have to ask, what the hell? Why? Go back to Gordon Freeman and don't look back, please. Let's move on to the next one before I get too embroiled in this. There are takedown animations. Anybody who's played the previous Fallout knows that when you do like takedowns or something like that, the enemy just falls over. You're not following. Take a look at this one scene where the dog takes somebody down. That will get old quick. You'll be happy that it happens, but it will get old quick. And also, this puts more strain on the data space and can lead to some very surprising glitches. It's distracting. While you're watching the dog take somebody down, 6 bandits could be shooting at you at the same time, and then you die. Takedown animations are not for Fallout. I mean, it's good when it's like the last enemy, or if it's the main character actually doing it, but having your subordinates, your party members doing that is just not right. The last one, we have more perks and skills. Now, if anybody's played a Fallout game before, you know the perks and skills that you like to play with. Adding more is not going to make a difference unless you nerf the ones that everybody already plays with. So let's take away from all the good ones everybody used to use. I used to love all the accuracy boosts, like where it would slow down your fire rate, but it would increase your accuracy. And in a wasteland where accuracy really, really matters, that was a good perk. Now they're going to have to take away from some of the old perks, like the one I just mentioned, to incorporate the new ones to add in a necessity to these new perks. I don't care about unarmed when I'm doing a gun run-through, and I sure as hell don't care about laser weapons when I'm doing an unarmed run-through. It is just not right to take away from the stuff we love, to add in new things that we're ultimately just going to be nostalgic about and hate the new game. And I guess that's the point of this video, being nostalgic and hating these new things, being afraid of change because we're all insecure people who can't really take it. But I'm still making this video. Next, we move on to gameplay. We got the change in VATS, where it doesn't stop time to make you think about your actions. No, it just makes you take rushed decisions that may just really destroy the VAT system itself. Why would I take time out of aiming a shot at one bandit out of this group of bandits while they're all shooting at me? It doesn't make sense. It leaves me out in the open and it's ultimately going to get me killed. Really, the only reason to use VATs in this new system is to make your first shot, and the rest is just going all of Call of Duty on them until nothing's hurting you anymore. This doesn't seem like Fallout to me. No, it just seems like we're turning this into a run and gun, have fun, blaze, kill everything. Enter all those memes where it's 420 blaze it, smoke weed every day. Ugh, this is not Fallout. It has never been Fallout. What's making this worse is all the stuff I mentioned is remodeling the FPS function of the game. It's more similar to Borderlands now. If I wanted to play Borderlands, I would play Borderlands. I don't want Borderlands with a high-tech skin and having Fallout stamped on it. It's just not right. When you look at this, there's less stealth aspects. Ultimately, it will feel like Rage and BioShock in the end. It will not feel like Fallout to older fans. And lastly, we look at the Pip-Boy changes. Now it has less of a role during combat because there's more access to weapons and armor and health. Practically, I know the new healing system will be something similar to the Dishonored games where you just push a button and it heals you as long as you have the healing item. Anybody who's preparing to play Fallout like the previous games are going to be disappointed because they're going to have to relearn the entire system. So much that they might put it down for a while and go complaining about it on the internet like I'm doing, but hey, I'm doing this before the game comes out, so screw you. Next, we move on to the story. Obviously, if it follows the Fallout lore, from what I see of it, it'll be more wacky and off-putting than actual serious Wasteland feel. And I'm not talking going H1Z1 DayZ kind of BS. No, I'm talking about when you run into something, at all times you're thinking, what's the funniest way I can kill this thing? Instead of going, holy crap, I could die. And the wasteland will just not feel like a wasteland. It'll feel like a sandbox. The story, I have to say it, will be either a majority of the game or be so short that most people will take their game back into GameStop to get a refund. Not a refund, but, that crappy GameStop cashback stuff. Because they beat the main story. They don't really want to go out and explore. You finish 20 quests and next thing you know, the main story is finished. Either that, or there'll be a majority of the game because they spent so much time into the story that there's less of a world outside of it. It's just not good design based on their source material. It's not. And this isn't adventuring, it's exploring at that point, where the game just takes everything away from you to put everything into this one moment. I don't care if a movie has one cool moment. If the rest of the movie sucked, that movie sucked. We got this whole Android theme thanks to the Fallout lore. Even though the Android kind of genre in films and video games hasn't been beat to death yet, I got a feeling this game is going to do it. It's going to push us over the edge, similar to every game turning into a cover-based shooter kind of feeling, where you just hate game developers. And you're just going to go through all the usual Android theme, where you discover you're actually an android. Oh, no, how can I cope with this? Oh no, everybody's prejudiced against androids. Most of the androids I see are slaves. Do I think I have a problem with that? And then ultimately a self-sacrifice at the end. Because who cares? It's an android. And all of this just leads to no surprises to fans. Older fans at least, where they're in their mid-20s or even early 20s. They've just seen and heard it all. And it'll remind us of the old and how the old was so much better. And lastly, we get to the developers, Bethesda and Obsidian. They're obviously using this title, as I've said before, to draw in a new crowd since it's been a while since the last game. And using one of the most anticipated games of the year to do this, especially to hardcore fans. It's just heartbreaking. Why would you take away my experience to give it to some 14-year-old who got it for Christmas? Really? They had no love of the game. I had love of the game. I pre-ordered your game. I wanted your game. I went onto your forums and tried to make predictions about the next game. Why are you making it for somebody half my age and probably won't enjoy it, or won't enjoy it in the correct way where they can talk about it instead of practically, and I've used this a lot, making it into Call of Duty? No, Bethesda. And no, Obsidian. You do not do this to us. They're acting invincible right now. They know they have one of the most anticipated games of the year. And they're just trotting around, having fun with it, saying, hey, you know how other games suck? Well, this one won't. That makes me worried. Because when developers get too much over their head about how awesome it's going to be, usually it turns out to be a flop. I mean, anybody who's had a Bethesda Obsidian game before knows that glitches are everywhere. I mean, I seriously suspect the glitches will be worse than Assassin's Creed Unity. And that's saying something. Where it will become your nightmare to play this game. Whether it's just awful glitches where, like in Skyrim, where mammoths fall from the sky, or forever loading screens. It is not a great way to be overconfident and then release something like this when you have a bad track record. And one of the most concerning things is they're supporting mods for this game heavily. And I say heavily. And you know why? Well, if my prediction about the story being too short and the rest of the game not having enough because they made it too beautiful, yes, they're going to want to support mods because they didn't make enough of a game themselves. It just sucks when the mods are better than the actual game by a mile. And I'm not talking all the, My Little Pony and Skyrim. I'm talking about how you play through the game and you think it's okay, but it's not really the good game until the DLC or the mods kick in. I bought the game for the original game. Do not disappoint me. It's close to the release. It really is. Why haven't I seen YouTubers, or anyone really, with access to this game to display how awesome it is? Are they scared that if everybody sees the glitches that they forgot to take out, that nobody will buy the game? Are they scared that somebody will get done playing the early access to it and say, meh, it was okay? They're afraid of displaying it for a reason. No demo, no nothing. All we have to go on is videos, and that is not trustworthy. But there is good news, at least. The good news is Bethesda has a great track record of fixing their games when there are issues. So if issues do occur, we can expect the game to be good at about 6 months after launch. So enjoy it then, but be warned, when it comes out, it will suck. And this has been Red Icing Guy, signing out again.